What happens when the most dominant force in professional wrestling history faces off against a man who has spent years rebuilding his legacy, his credibility, and his place in this industry? That's the question that defines Roman Reigns versus CM Punk at WrestleMania, and the answer might reshape everything we thought we understood about power, persistence, and the price of redemption. If you haven't subscribed to WWE Express yet, this is the moment. Hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell as we explore the narratives that define professional wrestling's greatest stage, the characters who inhabit it, and the stories that will echo through the industry for years to come. Let's break this down. Imagine this scene. The grandest stage of them all. The World Heavyweight Championship hangs in the balance. Roman Reigns stands in one corner, representing the institutional dominance that has defined the past several years of professional wrestling. CM Punk stands in the other, representing the possibility that a man who walked away, who faced adversity, who had to rebuild himself from the ground up, can still stand toe-to-toe with the absolute best. This isn't just a championship match. This is a collision of narratives. This is the culmination of two fundamentally different wrestling philosophies meeting at the highest possible stage. Roman Reigns' story is one of overwhelming dominance. Whether you view him as the conquering hero or the authoritarian force, depending on your perspective as a fan, the reality is undeniable. Roman has established himself as the top tier of this industry through a combination of physical superiority, strategic brilliance, and an unwavering commitment to being the best. He has defended his position at the top through victories that have defined multiple WrestleManias. His reign has been characterized by respect for the championship, respect for the institution, and an absolute refusal to allow anyone to diminish what he has built. CM Punk's return to professional wrestling represents something entirely different. It represents redemption. It represents a second chance. It represents the idea that even when the industry has rejected you, even when you've been away, even when people doubt whether you can still compete at the highest level, you can come back and prove something. Punk has spent his return arc re-establishing himself as a main event performer, as a legitimate threat, as a man who absolutely belongs in conversations about the top tier of this industry. Now, place these two philosophies in opposition at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, who has never backed down from a challenge, who has faced every significant opponent and prevailed, is now encountering CM Punk at his fullest potential. This is Punk at his hungriest. This is Punk with something to prove. This is Punk with momentum, with validation from the audience, with a narrative that demands he be taken seriously as a championship contender. The match itself would be a masterclass in storytelling, because Roman Reigns doesn't just beat people through strength and aggression. Roman wins because he understands how to control a match. He understands how to dictate the pace. He understands how to break his opponents psychologically while simultaneously breaking them physically. But CM Punk is built for this exact scenario. Punk's entire career has been about being the most intelligent person in the ring. Punk thrives in situations where he has to outthink his opponent. Punk has spent years developing a moveset that doesn't rely on being the strongest person in the match, but rather on being the smartest. The tension in this matchup is that Roman possesses advantages in nearly every traditional wrestling category. He's stronger. He's larger. He has faced more main event opponents at this caliber. But CM Punk possesses something that can't be measured the same way. He possesses resilience. He possesses an intellectual approach to the sport. He possesses an understanding of how to frustrate, how to chip away, how to make an opponent question whether they can truly dominate against someone who refuses to be dominated mentally. What makes this match genuinely compelling from a narrative perspective is that both outcomes tell completely different stories. If Roman Reigns retains, if he defeats CM Punk and continues his reign, the statement is clear. Roman remains unstoppable. Roman has faced the returning legend, the redemption story, the guy who has everything to prove, and Roman has still emerged victorious. That's a powerful narrative that solidifies Roman's position as the absolute top of the industry. No one can challenge him. No matter who comes through the curtain, Roman is the answer. But if we're exploring the scenario where Roman Reigns defeats CM Punk, the narrative becomes even more interesting because of what comes after. Because Punk doesn't disappear. Punk has established himself too much. Punk has too much credibility. So the question becomes, how does Punk respond to this loss? Does he move forward? Does he pursue other championships? Does he eventually pursue Roman again? And how does Roman handle the fact that even in victory, Punk forced him to be at his absolute best? From a character psychology standpoint, this match explores the concept of institutional power versus revolutionary spirit. Roman represents the system. Roman is the man who validates the system, who benefits from the system, who the system protects and promotes. CM Punk represents the possibility that the system can be challenged, that an outsider can come back and demand a seat at the table, that the power structure isn't permanent. The physicality of the match would tell a story in itself. Roman would likely attempt to establish dominance early, using his strength advantage to control Punk and establish the narrative that this is Reigns' match to lose. But Punk, understanding this approach, would likely focus on dismantling Roman's strategy. Punk would work the body. Punk would look to slow down the match, to make it a chess match rather than a power display. Punk would attempt to frustrate Roman, to force Roman away from his game plan, to make Roman question whether he can truly dominate against someone who refuses to play by the expected rules. The near falls would be crucial storytelling moments. When Punk hits a move that gets a 2 count, the crowd erupts because they're seeing a man who shouldn't be able to compete with Roman at this level, actually competing. When Roman escapes from Punk's submission hold, when Roman powers out of a situation that would devastate most wrestlers, the crowd gets reminded why Roman is the dominant force. It's this push and pull, this constant shifting of momentum and psychology, that makes championship matches at WrestleMania truly memorable. But ultimately, in this scenario, Roman Reigns emerges victorious. And the way Roman achieves this victory matters significantly. Roman doesn't win because Punk made a mistake. Roman doesn't win because Punk wasn't ready. Roman wins because at the absolute highest level, Roman is simply the best. Roman has faced every significant challenge, every significant threat, and Roman has overcome every single one. Punk gave everything. Punk brought his absolute best. Punk forced Roman to be elite in every facet. But Roman was still just a little bit better. Roman still found a way. The aftermath of this match is where the real storytelling potential emerges. Because both men should walk away elevated. Roman gets his clean victory, his validation as the absolute top of the industry. But Punk gets something equally valuable. Punk gets validation that he belongs in these conversations. Punk proved that a returning legend can step into the championship picture and be competitive at the absolute highest level. Punk didn't win the title, but Punk won something more valuable in a narrative sense. Punk won credibility. Punk established himself as the guy who took the dominant force in professional wrestling to the absolute limit. This creates natural story progression. Does Punk pursue Roman again? Does Punk move on to challenge for other championships? Does Roman find himself with an unwanted rival, someone who has proven they can compete with him and might be waiting in the background for another opportunity? These are the kinds of narrative layers that make championship wrestling compelling. From a broader perspective, a Roman Reigns victory in this match would be a statement about the state of professional wrestling in this era. It would suggest that dominance, consistency, and championship caliber performance are more valuable than redemption arcs and return narratives. It would validate Roman's position at the absolute top while simultaneously respecting CM Punk enough to make the match meaningful and competitive. The human element of this match cannot be overlooked. Both Roman Reigns and CM Punk are athletes who understand the psychological dimensions of their sport. Both men understand that wrestling is about telling a story in the ring. Both understand that the way you lose, the way you win, the specific moments and transactions you engage in, all communicate something about your character and your position in the wrestling landscape. If Roman Reigns defeats CM Punk at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship, it's not just about one man beating another man. It's about the continuation of a narrative that suggests that at the very highest level of professional wrestling, there is one man who consistently proves himself to be the best. It's about a championship match that delivers on its promise to be competitive, to be meaningful, and to elevate both competitors regardless of the outcome. This is the kind of main event wrestling that reminds us why we love this sport. This is championship wrestling at its finest. This is the story of dominance meeting determination, of institutions meeting revolution, of the wrestling world's greatest stage producing a match that will be remembered as one of the defining moments of this WrestleMania. If you want to dive deeper into these narratives, if you want analysis of the stories that matter in professional wrestling, subscribe to WWE Express right now. We break down the character arcs, we explore the psychology behind the matches, and we celebrate professional wrestling as the greatest storytelling medium in sports entertainment. Subscribe to WWE Express and join us for the next chapter of wrestling history.